Hello everybody, Trout here, and Happy New Year's everybody. We're finally coming out of 2020, this awful, awful year. I hope you all have made it through it just fine. But, without further ado, welcome back to another Cooking Simulator 5-star tutorial. In this tutorial, I will be showing you how to make the upgraded version of last video's baked trout. Baked trout with roasted Brussels sprouts. This only adds one element to the recipe, and that is the roasted Brussels sprouts. Not too difficult after you get used to it, but as a beginner it can be a little bit tedious. I forgot the trout entirely. I see. I've made a mistake. But, anyways, the ingredients that we will need for this recipe are going to be 1 piece of trout, black pepper, thyme, dill, horseradish, a lemon, parsley over on the herb shelf once again, olive oil, soy sauce, rice vinegar, and Brussels sprouts, which are currently in the fridge, which we will get to in just a little bit. We're going to start off this recipe by making our baked trout. To do that, we want to season our trout with 5 grams of black pepper, thyme, and dill, all 3 spices. Just like this. Shouldn't take much, but a thing with trout is when you're seasoning it, it has a high chance for some of the spices to go onto the cutting board, so you may have to use more than 5 grams. So we're going to take our trout after we've seasoned it, come over here, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds, or 90 seconds, and start our oven, and start baking the trout. In the meantime, we can go ahead and cut our lemon like we normally do. Let's get rid of the spices off of the cutting board. Take our lemon, and cut this into quarters, just like we always do with these kinds of recipes. Then we're going to take our plate, do this, come over here to our herb shelf, and grab 3 sprigs of parsley leaves. And now that part is completely done. Now we want to work on the roasted Brussels sprouts. For the roasted Brussels sprouts, we want to take a bowl, any kind of bowl, just preferably not the big red bowl that you can get from the box, because that's very awkward to pour from. So you just want to take a regular bowl, it can be a big or a small one, and we want to make a mixture of 10 milliliters of olive oil, 5 milliliters of soy sauce, and 5 milliliters of rice vinegar. You may make a little bit of a mess, but that shouldn't matter too much. Now we're going to take a second because our trout is almost finished, and come back over to this oven. Now that's done, we want to take this cutting board that I've placed over here for this recipe, take our trout out, and we would now want to season the baked trout with 5 grams of horseradish. Once we've done that, we can take our plate and grab our trout. But we're not done with this recipe yet. So we're going to set this back down, close this up, because we will be using the other oven for the next part. Now that we have our mixture, which should equate to roughly 20 milliliters, we want to take our plate and come over here to the fridge and grab 60 grams of Brussels sprouts, or 4 Brussels sprouts. Just like this. Now that we have our Brussels sprouts, we want to take our mixture and we want to drizzle these Brussels sprouts in this mixture. Now, it is going to get very messy. As you'll see, it will probably pour, more onto the plate from what it looks like, but that will be drizzled now in the mixture. And we want to take our cutting board now, that we have over here, put down our Brussels sprouts, or grab our Brussels sprouts, put them on here, separate them as to not get accidental random cuts. We want to take our knife and we want to cut each one of these in half, or roughly half, as close as you can possibly get on such a small ingredient. And just like that, we have our halves. Now we want to take this baking tray that we have over here, get all of those Brussels sprout halves, and come over to our oven. And set our timer, this time, for 1 minute and 40 seconds. And now, the last thing that we have to do is wait the next minute 40 for this to bake. And then, our recipe will be fully complete. So, we are going to sit here and we're going to watch these Brussels sprouts cook, because there's nothing better to do than watch Brussels sprouts cook in whatever time you may be watching this, really. One thing that you'll notice if you finish the trout like I did before you even start your Brussels sprouts is a minute 40 is a very long time to wait for one recipe, for one thing to bake. But don't worry, certain things get a lot longer in later recipes. While you're waiting, now is as good a time as ever to refresh, get some water, get whatever you need. You can leave for roughly a minute and come back and everything will be fine and nothing will have overcooked. And that's what I'm doing now. I am refreshing with some water. Now we've only got 10 seconds left, and just like that, time flies, doesn't it? Seems like quite a while, honestly. But now... I don't like the noise that the lower oven makes on this kitchen. But now that those are done, we're going to take our roasted Brussels sprout halves, come over to our order window, and serve this. This should be a perfect 5-star quality baked trout with roasted Brussels sprouts. And indeed, it is. And just like that, that is how you get a 5-star quality on baked trout with roasted Brussels sprouts. I hope that this tutorial was helpful to you, and if you believe that may benefit anyone else that you might know that's getting into Cooking Simulator, be sure to share this tutorial around to them. Yes. Anyways, I hope that this was helpful once again, and if it was, be sure to drop a like on the video and share it around with anyone that may benefit from watching it. And I will see you all in the next tutorial. Goodbye, everybody.